was LL Cool J around the way, girl. So there is a series of videos showing Joe Rogan using nigger multiple times, having him make a joke about black people in the Planet of the Apes in Africa, having him talking about, the black body and the white brain. And there are a series of these videos, and Joe Rogan rightfully says that those videos were taken out of context. They were taken out of context. But they were not taken out of character, because you don't have, that was a compilation, and you don't get a compilation unless you have said a lot of things a lot of time. Compilations is the best of, the greatest hits. It's an anthology. You know how long and how prolific you got to be to get an anthology? Earth, Wind, and Fire got an anthology. So let's not pretend like it doesn't exist. It happened. And it happened, and the reason we're talking about it right now is not because people were so incensed that they found out that these tropes were being used on Joe Rogan's podcast. They're mad because of his spread of misinformation. That's why Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and N.D.R.E., among many artists, want their music taken off the platform. Because the truth of the matter is, you cannot spread misinformation, but you can spread nigga. You can do that all day long, because specifically, it is what that audience wants. It's interesting. Michael Richards said, nigga, it was a big uproar. He lost gigs and couldn't come on TV. Bill Maher said, nigga, 5 years ago. It was such an insane. I was in Cabo San Lucas, and I get a news alert, and my publicist calls me and said, Bill Maher said nigga on TV. The next week, Ice Cube had to come on Bill Maher's show. So Bill Maher said nigga needed a nigga with attitude. Joe Rogan has a compilation of niggas and nothing at all, because that is what that audience wants. And Joe Rogan rightfully says he felt comfortable saying it. Why wouldn't you? When you say it all the time, your audience doesn't say anything, your corporate partners don't say anything, so you feel entitled. And let's be clear, he didn't, Spotify didn't deal with him in spite of saying nigga. They deal with him because he said it. Because nothing's edgier than a white dude walking that line and saying those things. And nothing's more attractive to people of a like mind than a white dude saying it. It's interesting how you learn where the bodies are. They got right now, Spotify is taking, 120 episodes off? Because how do you get to 120 episodes unless you know where they are? 120 episodes is the first 6 seasons of Friends. He got a box set of niggas and still got $100 million deal. Because saying racial tropes is not a disqualifier. No matter, everybody heard those things over the course of years. I don't listen to them because I've heard enough of those things where I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna be good for my spirit. But if there's an audience that loves it and eats it up, there's a reason why you can be Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson or even Joe Rogan and say these things. There's a reason why some of those people, of those same type of people, meet around, feel comfortable there. Like Joe Rogan had a guy on telling, basically explaining how black people have a gene that predisposes them to violence, and Joe pushed back, what about armies and police departments? But the point was, having a guy on like that is titillating to people who want a reason to believe black people are. Out of all those 120 episodes, I guarantee you most of them that the Spotify pulled, they know where they are and they know who they're about. I guarantee you it's not 120 episodes of people disparaging the Jewish community or the gay community. It's going to be blacks or Mexicans or people they know there's a vested interest in that audience in liking. They like when they're disparaged. There is a cottage industry in it. And people, even like 2 years ago, there's a video of him talking about the value of vaccines. And 2 years later, and people who spread misinformation about vaccines to him now. Because he knows lies and jokes and tropes about niggas work. They work. They work $100 million worth. They've always worked. Saying racially insensitive things, like when the whole thing about going to the theater and going to a theater and see Planet of the Apes, and you were in Africa. Look, I was just high when I did it. I've gotten high a lot. I've been to the movies a lot. I've been around a lot of black people at the movies. I've never seen apes. Now, if you get high and you see apes, when you see black people, maybe you lighten your joint with a tiki torch. But you can't tell me everybody wasn't aware. Even right now, no one's mad about the racial tropes. No one. No one. And you know what? They have the right to hear it. They have the right to have that audience. Stop telling me you were taken out of context because you were, but you were not out of character. Character is what you do, and you've done something at least 120 times that says who you are and what you think, or at least what you'll say about what you think. Because you know it works and it appeals to people. And I don't want to hear about these teachable moments. America has decided in this last year they don't want to learn what leads up to these kinds of tropes. They don't want slavery taught in school. They don't want to get to the root of those things. They don't want teachable moments. They don't. And if you're 50-some years old and you're worth a couple of $100 million and you haven't learned this, you're not trying to. Teachable moments, let me tell you something. When you know you can say those things, when you know that there's a willing, loving, protective audience, and when you know you have corporate partners who will buy it, you do not need a teachable lesson. You've already gotten it. That's a little note from the GED section. We've got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.